wait for it to go live. Oh, and I do believe we're live. Friends, I know you're seeing the weirdest live broadcast here, probably in the history of broadcasting. This is the best we can do. I'm going to put my face on there. Boom! Friends, wherever you are around the world, thank you for joining us. I have the one and only Godfather, Blanchette. How are you, sir? Good, thanks. Great to be here. And we have a live audience, about 3,000 people. And we're all here on the island of Mujeres, Isla Mujeres, which means Island of the Women. Island of the Women. And we've had some technical challenges. I'm going to be polite. We've had technical challenges, which means that I am kind of guessing at where my fingers are going on the screen. I do want to introduce you to oh, David, don't do that to me. No. Oh, dear me. David, we can't hear you.
Oh, I didn't say anything yet. Can you hear me?
Can you
hear us?
Well, if I say hello, David.
Oh.
Welcome.
How?
Good to see you.
Oh. Can you hear me? I didn't say how. We come in peace. We mean you no harm. Uh-oh, it looks like he's frozen.
Yeah, frozen now.
Because we don't know, Jimmy, if they can hear us. So if everybody can hear us, Jimmy and I are about to send out a transmission through his harmonic massive antenna to the planet Venus, which is the planet of love, the Garden of Eden. The planet of Venus is in Dante's system, the third heaven, which is really the Garden of Eden, where everybody goes back to their divine state before the fig leaves. And so Venus also in Swedenborg's system is the same as Dante's. It's literally the Garden of Eden. And Jesus refers...
Brother, I'm sorry to do this to you. I got to stop you because we're not actually hearing you. You're being broadcast through a speaker, but it sounds terrible. I'm sorry. Let's see if we can troubleshoot this before you carry on. Let me quickly just introduce Jimmy. Jimmy, can you hear us?
Well, now I can hear you. It's very choppy, but I can hear you now.
Okay. Dodgy speaker. Will you keep on with the speaker, or you can maybe you can try to turn to the computer? I know the internet. I'm just gonna see if we can. Do you want to try to set it to my phone? I usually get pretty good. No, I don't know that that's gonna work. Guys, let me explain the problem. If we cut the broadcast, we cut the link. Sorry, guys. Stand by for 1 minute. No need to look so concerned there, Jimmy. Oh, your screen is frozen. That's what it is. Okay. All right, we're just seeing if we can tether onto something else here. So we've had this for the last couple of days. Very curious technical issues when actually we've got very, very good broadband here on the island. Just give it 1 minute.
Hey, Jimmy, this is a Hebrew cubit right here, perfectly.
It's exactly the length of the element on my antenna on
Right.
144.1. Exactly, I can see it.
Yeah, this is 144.1 megahertz. It's the Hebrew long cubit. It's actually plugged in right now.
You know, we could broadcast straight through it. Really, it's a monopole antenna that you have. Is the what you have in your hand? Is it a copper pipe?
Well,
What is
the
it?
coil is copper. I'm connected at the bottom right here.
Yeah.
My power source is over there. I'm running 14.41 megahertz. So the decimals moved over because my machine doesn't go that high, but it's still the same number, a number of octaves down.
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks like we lost Sasha.
Yeah, I think they are switching to different system, or they're trying different things. We'll just wait.
Yeah,
I
make
don't know.
sure we
It's,
do the transmission no matter what on time, because we can always
yeah,
talk about it after.
yeah. We are. It says we're still live. By the way, I don't know if we're broadcasting anything here, but
It says you're in the show. Everyone can hear and see you. We're broadcasting to the planet Venus tonight, everybody, on Jimmy's antenna system. We'll be sending out a pictogram, 2 pictograms, and we'll be sending out the 144.1 hertz tone. And then after that, you're going to hear the frequencies of the musical octaves of the planet Venus, which is the planet of love. Jesus refers to himself as the bright and morning star in the book of Revelation, which is Venus. And Venus equates to the third heaven in Dante Alighieri's visions, as well as Emanuel Swedenborg's. I don't know if anybody can hear me. Can you hear me?
yes. Well, Shairo says she's on Facebook and she can hear and see us both well, so it's live right
Oh,
now.
good. Okay, so we should just be going. So when this transmission goes out, you really want to be wearing headphones, because if everybody on Facebook is getting this in a clear reception, you want to put your headphones on, because your nervous system will get tuned to the planet Venus. And this is a great planet to send out love, your desire for love, your desire for love and healing in your life and for your community and for your relationships. And Venus is also, as I mentioned, it's really amazing. In the book of Isaiah, it actually describes Lucifer falls from the bright and morning star to the earth, which means the throne of God that Lucifer was in unification with God would have been on the planet Venus, and that's where he fell to earth from. And then also in the book of Revelation, there are several places where Jesus refers to the heavens as the bright and morning star, or even himself being on the bright and morning star, which is the planet Venus. And it's actually also in the Quran, in the beginning of the prophet's journey through the 7 levels of heaven. It starts with a star that sets on the horizon. I'm just reading that now. So it's very, very exciting what we're doing tonight. The transmission will begin at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, and that's when Jimmy's screen will appear. Jimmy's transmission, he's the one who's operating the antenna, and it will be pointed mathematically perfectly at Venus. And Jimmy, how far is Venus away at the speed of light? How long will the transmission take?
Oh, it's a good question. I have not done the math yet, but it's not very long. Venus is not very far.
Oh, it's
It's
really fast. So let me go
a few
to
minutes, really.
Venus,
You
Earth,
can,
speed of light, which is the same as the speed of a radio transmission. How fast does light travel? Light from Venus reach Earth? And the I'm having these errors on my
it's a few minutes.
it's just a few minutes. I mean, it's not very far. I'm gonna have to go on Firefox to do this, because
I will say it's probably less than 10 minutes.
oh no, it's way less than that. Speed
Yes.
of light between Earth and Venus. Oh. So everybody get ready. We're getting ready to transmit our signal. The wavelength of Venus at the equator, if you take the speed of light divided by the circumference, which is the wavelength where light oscillates around the planet Venus at the equator, is 7.88 hertz. It's ever so close to the same frequency as Earth. It's actually amazing, how similar the frequency base for Earth is in Venus. Speed of light between.
So, well, I just see here it's about 261 million kilometers. So, it's we can just divide that by.
No, normally these answers are really 8.3 minutes.
Okay, here we go. So I said
So,
about less than 10 minutes. It's about that. That makes sense.
or is that Mars? Mercury, Mars.
So I can, while you're looking at
Oh
this.
no, 3.
Mhm.
Living planets at the speed of light. Venus, 6.1 minutes.
Yeah.
Mercury is 3.2 minutes. Venus is 6.1 minutes.
Yeah, I believe the sun is
And
about 10 minutes.
Mars is 8.5. So basically 6.1 minutes away at the speed of light. So that's how long the broadcast will take to reach Venus. And when we did the frequencies for the transmission to the planet Mercury, I had one of the most powerful spiritual experiences within 33 hours of the broadcast. So if you really tune yourself and you really do this with sincerity, to learn about the transmissions, just go to my website, which is right under my name, davidsereda.co, and just click on the transmissions link, the link to the transmissions, and you can watch Jimmy Blanchette's documentaries. There's lots of videos there to show you what happens during a transmission. And another function of when you're doing a transmission, because the transmission goes out at 432 megahertz is the carrier wave. And the passengers on the carrier wave are the frequencies and the tones, the pictograms. There's a musical solo with my wife Crystal's voice, who is now on the other side of this earth. And then you're going to hear the voice of my children saying, calling all angels, calling all angels. You'll hear my voice making a call to the Archangel Michael and Gabriel for help to the planet, to our planet Earth. And what I do is I turn my radio, my handheld radio, on to 432 megahertz, which is the broadcast frequency. And it's already chirping at 432 megahertz, and that is incredible. And so anyway, when I hold this down, there's a video where I demonstrate this on my website, and my whole body and nervous system will be vibrating at the same frequency as the broadcast. And whenever two or more tuners are at the same frequency, they're in communication with each other. That's how radio works. If everybody tunes to 93.1 FM, Jimmy, I've never heard my radio do this at 432 megahertz, by the way. And we've set the intention. We're noticing things happening when we set the intention to do a broadcast. So this has never happened at, look, it's chirping away at 432 megahertz. It's normally dead silent, and this is constant. I have you ever seen that at 432 megahertz?
No.
This is unbelievable. There's something going on. Now, mind you, my hand is being held on this scepter, and this scepter, as a monopole, is the Hebrew long cubit. And the Hebrew long cubit, you'll see on Jimmy's antenna, you're actually going to see his antenna. All the crossbars are this same perfect measurement, which is tuned to 144.1 megahertz. So, have you been able to hear us, Sasha? Because we've confirmed we've been live on Facebook the whole time.
We kept you going live. There's just under 300 people, 275 growing on this page. You could probably triple that with probably close to 1,000 people, I would guess. But yeah, we didn't hear anything for the last 10 minutes, but I think we're stable now.
But people are saying that they've been hearing us on Facebook.
Yeah, they've been hearing you, not us. So
yeah, that's what I mean.
We're back in the broadcast. If you could kindly just sum up in 2 minutes where we're at so that our live audience can be up to speed, and then we'll proceed at pace.
Okay, so we're broadcasting a message, a series of messages to the planet Venus tonight. And they'll be broadcast at 432 megahertz on Jimmy's antenna. And you're going to hear first the sound of a pictogram being transmitted to Venus. Venus is about 6.1 minutes away at the speed of light, so it only takes 6 minutes for the transmission to reach Venus. Then you're going to hear the tone 144.1 hertz. So I advise people to wear headphones wherever you are, even earbud headphones, because when you tune your nervous system to these frequencies, you're going to be tuned to the frequency of the transmission, your actual biology, your whole nervous system. And then you're going to hear 7 musical octaves that are the frequencies of the planet Venus. So you will be tuned to Venus. Venus is the planet of love. So this is a great time to send out your wishes and your messages for love in your life and relationships, and love for the planet, love for each other, love for all sentient beings. Dante in his system and Swedenborg both found that the third heaven is literally the Garden of Eden, where all the beings that live there are living in the nude. And I hope that doesn't shock you, but everybody there is back in their divine state in the Garden of Eden, and that's why it is literally called the planet of human affection and love. But also what's interesting is Jesus refers to himself in Revelation 22, chapter 22, as the bright and morning star, and Venus is the bright and morning star. And in the book of Isaiah, Lucifer is described falls from the bright and morning star to the earth. So this would signify that the bright and morning star Venus is where the throne of God was when Lucifer, or the dark one, was cast to the earth. So he fell from on high to the earth, and it made a crashing sound when he landed. So Jesus, the Bible is coded with the planets. There are different levels of the angelic kingdom. As there are 9 levels of angels, there are 9 great spheres. If you count the sun and you eliminate Pluto, you have 9 spheres and 9 levels of the angelic kingdom. So we're sending it, when we send out this message, what your thoughts and intentions are matter during the transmission. So really focus, listen to the tones. If you don't have headphones, just listen through the sound system that you have. Really focus on the tones and your intention. Jamie, can you describe from your end the timeline of the transmission and what people can do?
Yes, absolutely. If I can share my screen, I am going to show a live feed from the antenna system. So let's make sure I can share my screen. Okay, and here we go. Give me a second here. So you should be able to see. Give me a second here. Okay, are you seeing the sky and the antenna system?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so this is a live feed from the antenna. Actually, there's a camera set up on the antenna array. So what we see here are the 2 main booms, which are phased together in an array to double the power. We will be broadcasting at 250,000 watts tonight on 432 megahertz, as David mentioned. The radio wave will physically reach Venus and go far beyond, obviously. We will be recording during the broadcast. The broadcast, I'm going to start the recording right now, actually, because we may see activity in the sky. It happened several times when we make these transmissions. Again, this transmission will be heard by non-human intelligences, I promise you that. We have also here, I'm going to show David the slides that the sequence. You see it here?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the sequence that we're going to go through. The overall transmission is going to last 17 minutes, and there are 7 sequences. And we see here the timing of the sequences. The first one will be a pictogram or a message addressed to our cosmic family, which is this one here. And so while it's broadcasting, I will put the pictogram on a screen so the attendees can see what we're actually broadcasting. Again, this is an image, what we see here, but this image has been turned into an audio file, into an audio message. And that's what we're going to be broadcasting. But this audio message can easily be turned back into this picture that you see here. So I just wanted to point that out. And finally, this is what you see on the screen is the control room, or actually the virtual radio that we see. And so this allows me to control virtually or remotely everything that's going to be happening during the broadcast. So I'm going to bring this back here, and this is actually here a view of the radio, which is right next to me here, but I have it on the screen, and we'll be able to show that as well when we transmit. So again, broadcast will start in 7 minutes. This is the sequence, and I will make sure that when we make the transmission that the folks can see the sequence here on the screen.
So because everybody is tuned to the frequencies of the broadcast just by listening, whatever you're thinking, whatever you're intentionalizing inside of yourself becomes part of the broadcast as a collective human intention experiment. And now we know it's not merely an experiment, because the last time we did this to Mercury, I had the most profound vision only a day and a half later of the tree of life shining with light, coming down upon the earth and overtaking me and meeting my deceased wife on the other side and being carried up above the earth in this blinding vision of light. And the voice of God spoke from the light to me. I have a whole video about that experience. But the most important thing is to have your own experience, to be very sincere about this. The more sincere you are in yourself and sending out your intention as we're tuning to Venus, the more profound your return experience will be for your own self. And also in the future, Sasha, we'd love to have a recording of your voice and your message to send out to the planet Venus or Mercury or whatever planet you wish. So we'll have to stay in touch and work with Jimmy on that. But right now, because the notice is short, we're sending out the same, most of the same message we sent to the planet Mercury on September 24th. And we're ready to start. And we're 5 minutes away from beaming ourself to Venus.
Great. Let me just add that Shanaz Soni is with us, the most beautiful rocket scientist. Not just in NASA.
The most beautiful rocket scientist.
Also a long-standing member of the Lazarus Initiative and ongoing symposium. So I'm blessed to have Santos, Bonacci, and Shanaz Soni next to me on the island of Cancun in Mexico with our beautiful live audience from the Regenesis retreat behind us watching you guys. So thank you, and thank you to the audience who just watched the for us.
Excellent. Well, we have 4 minutes left. Maybe, David, you want to talk briefly about the transmission we made on during the Lionsgate on August 8th?
Well, on August 8th, Jimmy and I did a moon bounce. Jimmy sent a signal off the moon, which then reflected. The center of the signal hit the Great Pyramid of Egypt, and the rest of the signal bathed the entire planet. And we sent a series of 432 octave musical tones, and we sent a series of Great Pyramid tones, and we had a tour guide in Cairo videotaping the Great Pyramid during the transmission, and we reprocessed that video, which showed a phenomenal response. A bright orange and turquoise aura radiated off the Great Pyramid of Egypt. So the whole planet got an activation that day, and within 48 hours, my wife passed from this earth during that portal, and also Paul Hellyer passed right in the middle of the Lionsgate portal during this. When we're doing these transmissions, we're actually opening a portal of light.
Yeah.
So actually, where you are in Mexico, the center of the Mayan and the Incan civilizations, those pyramids are crystal oscillator tuners. And so we can actually arrange for a time to send a beam off the moon and hit those pyramids, which will truly activate them. In fact, there's an amazing photo somebody took of the Chichen Itza, the El Castillo in Chichen Itza, during a lightning storm. This huge column of light, beamed right out of the top of the pyramid. And that's because the enormous electrical strike activates oscillations in the pyramid because it's made out of a semiconductive crystalline material, and it forms a beam. So during those moments, whether they're lightning strikes or are the transmissions we're doing, is an incredible opportunity to ascend and to rise your kundalini and your life force energy upwards for a higher perception and experience of reality. So also, all of Sash's people can register. You just go to davidsereda.co. You can see it under my name here, and you click on the transmissions button. It's $11.11 per month to become a member. And we're trying to build this because the more people, the more of you that participate in these monthly transmissions, and we're going to be going to Venus, actually to Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And each one of those planets actually corresponds to a different level of the spiritual and angelic kingdom. So when we're eventually going to hit all of them, like it's when we send a signal to the planet, it's kind of like ringing a giant toning bowl.
So we have 50 seconds, David. Just
50 seconds. Okay, we're ready to go, everybody. Let's get ready. Jimmy's taking over, and
so I'm sharing my screen right now. Can you see the antenna system? I'm sharing my screen. Can you see the antenna system? Yeah, here we go.
There it is. Yeah. There's just a short delay there, Jimmy.
Okay. Okay.
All righty.
Okay, so we will be starting the transmission in 25 seconds. Nine, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Can you turn the volume up on that, Jimmy?
Can you hear it?
We can, but it's just a little weak.
Oh no, it should be on the screen as well. Okay. Give me a second here. Okay, so we have 1 minute break right now between each transmission.
So that was the pictogram first, right?
That was a pictogram first, that's correct. I will put the actual transmission sequence so people can see it. Can you hear the sound of the audio okay, David?
A little bit. It's a little weak this time, but it doesn't matter. The transmission is still going out.
Yeah. So in 15 seconds, we're going to be the tone, the 144.1 hertz tone.
Which in ratio to the broadcast frequency of 432 megahertz is the speed of light in metric, yeah. Which is why we're doing it.
Here we go. It's going now. Okay. Next one will start in 45 seconds, and it will be the Venus stones that David created.
I can play them on my computer so people can hear them better because they're still going out in the antenna. So
Thank you, David.
tell me when it starts, Jimmy, and I'll play them here.
Yeah. Okay, in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Well, no.
The first tone is very low.
Okay. Very good. Next sequence will be Crystal Sereda, starting in 45 seconds. I'm going to move the antenna a little bit here to recalibrate towards Venus because Venus is moving, obviously. Again, we're broadcasting with 250,000 watts right now, and these messages are physically reaching the target and beyond.
This is better than NASA.
So here we go. Okay.
What I'm doing when I'm holding down the radio, Sasha and Shanaz, is as soon as I push this call button down, my whole nervous system vibrates at the same frequency as the transmission, which is 432 megahertz. And I'm already getting the same response that Jimmy normally gets at 144.1 megahertz. Is they're responding back to me. And those little blips are actually what Jimmy's experience is a coded message. You notice that nobody's talking. This never has happened to Jimmy before at 432 megahertz. It's only happened at 144.1. So there's really something going on here, because we've been transmitting at that frequency.
Your message now. Here we go.
Okay.
The messenger of between humankind, and that is the kindness of humans to God. We on Earth believe we need serious help from above. Our planet has been hijacked by evil lords. We beg you, Archangel Gabriel, to send this message to God in the highest. And please, please send help to planet Earth. Please, we beg you, send help to planet Earth.
Okay. Next in line will be the children's message, which will start in 45 seconds.
This is very innocent. It's just some very light music and my children saying, calling all angels. Jesus said, unless like a child shall you enter the kingdom of heaven. So we're using the voices of the children to very, very simple.
Okay, in 15 seconds. So we see now the camera switch to the night vision because
that's the camera on the phone.
Yeah, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, it was beautiful. And our last sequence tonight will be a picture of Astaria eyes.
Which is a pictogram again.
Pictogram. That's right.
And that's the live view right now, Jimmy?
Yes, this is a live view. what we see. The sun obviously went down, set, and we will see Venus at this time, but there's a cloud, and fortunately it's hidden behind the cloud. Okay, so transmission will be starting in 11 seconds.
Oh yeah, Venus is really low on the horizon right now.
Yeah. 2, 1, 0. Here we go. All right, this is what we just broadcasted. Transmission completed.
All right, thank you so much, Sasha and Jimmy, for hosting this. And I just want to say again, we're interested in musicians. We're interested in people submitting music for future transmissions. And also, we'd love to have Sasha's voice and a recorded message. The messages need to be a minute or less. Is that correct, Jimmy?
I'm sorry, David, repeat your question.
For recorded messages, do they need to be a minute or less?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So, Sasha, for a future transmission with your voice, Sasha, you just need to record something a minute or less that you want to say to the cosmos, and it will go on a transmission. And any music you want to accompany your transmission, Sasha, you're at your command. We're doing this as an intentional experiment. We're designing each transmission, and also Sanata Barashi, we can send out pictograms. So if you have a sacred geometry or a pictogram, Jimmy can convert a picture into a radio transmission. So there's a lot of possibilities here, and we're also part of what we're doing is teaching people the mysticism of each one of the locations of the planet. We can also again do moon bounces and hit the sacred sites on the Earth, and sites like Eleusis and ancient Greece, the Great Temple at Delphi, the Great Pyramid of Egypt, the pyramids of the Yucatan, and even the Bosnian pyramids. There are many Earth-based locations that we can do, and each one of these is designed to open a portal. And this is really done physically, because a radio transmission at 250,000 watts is a lot of power. So it's very physical in the here and now. And so we're combining consciousness with scientific instruments in these transmissions. So we welcome your feedback and your participation.
What if we, for instance, arranged with Dr. Sami at the Bosnian Pyramid to be there with a delegation of folks with some radio transmission capability? Is that something that's going to augment this that particular piece?
Jimmy, that's a good question for you.
Unmute, Jimmy.
We can't hear you.
Okay. David,
Yeah.
Santos will be with me next week, same time, so maybe he and I will work on something together musically, and get a message together, and maybe we could repeat this exercise this time next week.
Well, actually, October 18th, Mercury comes out of retrograde, so it comes out from behind the sun again. And so we have the opportunity of Mercury. Venus is great, but pick a planet and then talk to Jimmy And yes, compose something, some beautiful music. 1 minute with your voice, because you can't do longer than that. That's why what we're saying is very simple. And it would be wonderful to have your participation, Sasha, and send out your own transmission to your designated target.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure why, but okay. So yeah, absolutely. If there's people on the ground there, it's always very helpful for the coherence, and that would be a great thing to try. We can create again pretty much any messages that we want to do, and we'll be ready to do it. So ideally we'll use actually we could use for the Bosnian pyramid, we should use the moon, do the moon bounce, right? So we're going to be bouncing all these hundreds of thousands of watts of the surface of the moon, and the front wave that's going to come back from the moon will hit and resonate with the pyramid. So we'll have to look for a moon window that will be appropriate in terms of time and obviously and everything. But I have a good software that we can use to establish appropriate date and time to do that.
I'd just like to, whilst we've got Santos here with us, and Jimmy, you never got to meet Santos, but that's the man who's trying to think brilliant, wonderful brother, great work. You remind me of the Italian genius Piero Luigina. Check out his work. He worked with Marconi for 10 years, and he used an antenna system similar to yours. And they were communicating with the sun, and they were getting energy back from the sun. Most of it they did solar, but now that you're doing this with Venus and Mercury, this is brilliant. Any questions about that? Not at all. I understand what you're doing.
Excellent.
And in fact, the speed of light, you never even really need to factor it in. On a longitudinal wave, everything is connected.
You're exactly right. That's right.
So this speed of light that we're talking about, that's just basically electrical transverse waves. But magnetic radial waves, they are instantaneous at a distance. So I understand exactly what you're doing. These orbs, Venus, Mercury, the Sun, they are conscious, they are archangels, they are talking to us.
Yes.
We need to talk to them. Once we talk to them, we give them permission to help us. We need help. Currently, someone has locked down this planet. Look, the global has locked down the planet, but no, we are free, and this is how we get free. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. This is very, very good.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Very well.
How about putting that
I have this short video
in a song, like what you're saying? Is it possible, Jimmy, to send a message directly into the Earth to try to communicate with the beings in the hollow Earth, which is...
Yeah, well, actually, when we bounce radio wave off the surface of the moon, the front wave that comes back towards Earth will envelop the entire planet Earth. Every fiber of this planet will be will resonate with this essentially the wave, the radio wave that we're sending at these frequencies. So, yeah, if they're all the civilizations underneath the Earth will be able to get that message as well, and these frequencies, no doubt about that. And I do have a 5-minute video at the end. I don't know if we want to show the promise video that shows a transmission followed by starship that essentially answered the reply.
We'd love to see that, Jimmy. Thank you. Are we all good to see that 5 minutes? Crack on, Jimmy. You've got the floor.
Excellent. So
and David, setting that up, David, kindly just walk us through the staff that you are holding in the left hand. Talk us through what it's doing and its measurement and its the rationale.
Okay, so this scepter is actually the same height as a monopole as the Hebrew long cubit. And you'll notice on Jimmy's antenna, all the crossbars on both antennas are this length. And this length, as a monopole, transmits a wavelength 4 times its height. And therefore, its frequency at the Hebrew long cubit is 144.1 megahertz, which is the magic number that Jimmy has been using for years. And the 144.1 to the 432 megahertz is the ratio of 1 to the speed of light. So that is a discovery that Jimmy started with, and I helped him fine-tune during the Lionsgate transmission. huge download came in. And I was having my scepter made by my jewelers in Sedona. And this one, during the transmission we just did, I plug in right here to my power source, and I was transmitting 144.1 megahertz through my whole body by holding this. So my whole nervous system was vibrating at that frequency, which is actually 14.41, so 1/10 of it in perfect harmony, was what I was running through my body during the whole transmission to Venus. And so this is a very, very sacred tool because all of the gems in the pyramid, in fact, I even turned the north face of my pyramid to true north during the transmission. So when you hold these tools in meditation, and you can see these on my website here underneath my name, and you can learn more about them. So again, it was really interesting to me that Jimmy's antenna, which he designed, how many years ago did you design that antenna, Jimmy?
In 2000, this one in 2016, 2015, 16, that's when it came to fruition.
So he was using the same measurement on all of the crossbars to generate 144.1 megahertz. So,
yeah.
So we know from the last event we did with Usasha the profundity of that magic number. So that's what I'm holding in my hand.
So it's great. And, the video that we're going to show now is actually a transmission that I made back in November 2020. So it's a few months old, but it's very recent. And what you will see, this is a transmission actually, just like David mentioned, that was performed on 144.1 megahertz, corresponding to the length of the Hebrew qubit that David mentioned. And, following this broadcast, the Starship that was invited to interact just showed up. And so we'll show the video and you will see that these transmissions are real and that they are really heard and decoded and acted upon by non-human intelligences who are receiving these transmissions. And trust me, they are. So if I can share my screen, I will show the video right now. It's a 5-minute long video. Okay.
Get the screen up.
Here we go. Okay. Here we go. Here you have it, folks.
Thank you, Jimmy. Fascinating. I'm interested to ask Ganesh.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to ask you the big question that slow down the speed to even show that how fast it's moving. Pretty obviously, the like that just hard time saying anything because we are not able to slow down fast like at the time. We don't have a plan. So I thought that was very interesting. But my main question was when you guys were sending a message, I noticed you were sending audio messages and as soon as you send the
I cannot hear you,
I-
Shanaz.
Okay, let me see if I can speak up.
Okay.
Are you hearing, Jimmy? Are you hearing me?
Now I can hear you. We could hear we could hear just barely, and it was
He
inaudible.
just needs to get closer to the mic.
Okay, we start
Can you hear
again.
me now?
Yeah, it's better. Okay, restart that, please.
Okay, I'll restart. So the very first thing I wanted to say is that I noticed in the video towards the end when you were showing the object going so fast that you had to slow down the speed to 50% just with an arrow to even make a point that here how fast it's going. And the very fact is that there's no way on earth with our naked eye we could have ever observed that unless you would have a tool that you had to make a point on that. So that was just more an observation. And the main question is, and in the very beginning when you guys were sending the 1658 message, and then in the beginning you sent audio message, and then as soon as you got to Crystal Sereda's voice, which was a voice message, then the message came back from them that David was displaying. And I just wanted to see that what is the significance of message coming back only at that particular window, and throughout the other times it did not. So I just wanted to understand that.
Sure. First, there has been, there's in terms of interaction with the radios, we have had myself and David and many other experiencers all over the world have been using this, we call it first contact protocol, to establish contact with non-human intelligences. We've had the folks who have radios have had several interactions. I do have interactions myself every day, literally. They are in permanent communication with many of us. In terms of the significance of well, first of all, also I should mention that we are broadcasting electromagnetic radio waves, but the way that they reply to us is not through regular radio waves. I just want to point that out. They're using very advanced technology that we obviously don't understand at this moment in time. But, if, for instance, we use multiple radios set to the same frequency, identical radios, one next to each other, when the interaction occurs, the non-human intelligence is capable of triggering and interacting one radio, specifically the radio typically that was used to broadcast the message specifically. The other radios that are sitting next to it are completely silent and unaffected, right? This is breaking the laws of physics, because if the reply or the interactions will be driven by electromagnetic radio waves, all the radios that are set to the same frequency and identical should all be triggered and behave exactly the same way. And it's not what we're seeing. We're seeing that they are interacting back with us, and typically only through the radio that was used to broadcast the message, and the other radios are silent. So
That's impossible. By the way,
it's impossible.
That's
And
impossible.
and we have, I do have a lot of video evidence actually that shows that these interactions are breaking the laws of physics. So I just wanted to point that out. The nature of this interaction is very unusual and beyond what we understand at this point. But they are clearly understanding us.
Jimmy, this is what I think. I mean, I'm kind of springing it on you here, but I'm thinking that maybe Adam, maybe you get some ideas on the decoding, or may have some ideas on the decoding when you understand the metric that Dave and Jimmy are employing to decode the messaging coming back. If it's like this radio is reacting and the fourth radio is reacting and the seventh radio is reacting, could be something to do with Sure.
Can you hold up the microphone, Sasha?
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that sounds better. Yeah.
Our bizarre broadcasting medium today. Can you believe it? I'm actually speaking into the speaker and you can hear me. Talk about defying physics. But what I was saying was that with Santos and his syncretism academy, which is taking off in a huge way with incredibly brilliant minds connected to his brain trusts, I was suggesting that they may wish to work with you guys on helping to look to decoding the messaging and the method coming back from the intelligences that you're interacting with. I'm certain there's going to be an intersect there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very interested. I want to point out also that what they are sending back is not only, sound that we can hear. There are frequencies embedded in some of these transmissions, but they are based on the experiment that research that I've done and others. They are sending back to us energy. This energy can be transferred from one medium to another, and I do have video evidence and all kinds of experiments that shows that they are transferring energy. Some of us have even experienced healing, and is it because of this energy? Possibly. And a lot of folks also that have these interactions have downloads, information coming through. So there is information embedded in these replies. There's energy embedded in these replies. It's really beyond what we, just a message or a text that they're sending back. So it's really energy. But clearly the science behind it and all that aspect needs a lot more research. There's a lot of work to be done there. And any help we can get, to shed lights on what we're getting back is welcome.
One thing Jimmy's done is he's spectral analyzed the little blips. Like you saw tonight when we were transmitting to Venus, how my radio was blipping, but normally Jimmy only gets this response at 144.1 megahertz. But tonight it was happening at 432 megahertz, which is the transmission frequency for the first time, full activity. Jimmy records those little blips and he runs them through a spectral analyzer to see what the blip, each one of those blips is a numerical valued frequency. And we actually looked at the numbers and we analyzed them. So that's all we've been able to do so far. Maybe there's hidden data, like remember in the movie Contact, there was the frequency response in the movie Contact, but then there was hidden data in the message. And that's where we need a lot of help, because there may be deeper levels of the messages they're returning to us. And sometimes if you just listen to the blips on your radio, it's activating your DNA and causing a download. And then all of a sudden you'll have these insights or coincidences appear in your life.
If I can share, I do have a video of a minute or two. It's a transmission to the Galactic Federations, and then we can see the reply back and how they are activating the radios. So, if you allow me, I could share that in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Jimmy. Go for it.
All right. Here we go. Here you have it.
So, Jimmy, can you show them what it looks like when you run those little blips through a spectral analyzer? Do you have any graphics of that? I know you showed me that before.
Yes, I do have it. I don't have it on hand right now, but I have it somewhere.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted Mr. Bernacci to see
Sure.
what you've been able to do so far, and I did the same thing because Jimmy gave me the frequency analyzing software. I sent signals out that were octaves of the star Bellatrix in Orion's belt, and the response came back, and they gave me the next three numbers in the sequence, and those next three numbers were not in my transmission, but were in my computer. And they were three numbers that only I know. Nobody else knows these numbers. And they came back within seconds. So there's a lot of it. When you're hearing all that chatter, all that blips, which happened on my radio tonight with Venus, there's data in there, is what I'm saying. And it needs to be really analyzed. And that's where we need a lot of help.
So here we go. You see my screen? So what you will see here is an example of interactions, and while the interaction is ongoing, the audio is processed through a spectrum analyzer. So what you will see are bands of frequencies within this transmission, and I will let you watch the video. So we see these frequencies that are embedded in this audio transmission. Interestingly, they can all be reduced to 3, 6, or 9.
Whoa! And also those numbers I played on the piano. They're 5 of them are black keys and 2 of them are white keys. So they're ever so close.
Curious to get Santos's take on that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Well, the way I see it, and the way I think the communication is happening is that their technology is ether based, and ours is definitely plasma based. We have not had ether technology for a few hundred years. So we've gone back, we've evolved from the technology we used to have.
Tartarus.
Yeah, in Tartarus, for instance. So their technology is ether based, and everything that we're using is designed on plasma transverse waves. So once we update or upgrade our technology, and I know someone in Puerto Morelos who is a genius with Dersenval, Odin, and Tesla technology. Those are able to pick up all energies from the ether. The ether was eliminated with Einstein's theory of relativity. So that was done on purpose. That was to diminish humanity. Many things have done to diminish our advancement. Fossil fuel, technology, allopathy instead of naturopathy. Many, many false models have been inserted into our timeline to keep us dumbed down. So these guys are using the ether, the quintessence, and I would say that they're using longitudinal waves, whereas our technology is designed to pick up both longitudinal and transverse waves, which is where the miscommunication is happening.
Very well said. Thank you.
Very interesting.
Makes sense. Yeah, very interesting. I mean, clearly, we are tapping into something. The frequency that we've been using for these broadcasts also is very significant, and we demonstrated that David and I a few days ago, the 144.1. So, and it's clearly a light harmonic. The 144.1 is a light harmonic, and these harmonic travel obviously much faster than the speed of light can reach instantaneously other targets, if you will, very far away, another galaxy even. So yeah, it makes complete sense. And our technology, yeah, I mean, needless to say that we're behind, but we'll catch up on technology once humanity is freed.
One more thing, Bruce Cathy from New Zealand, a great scientist, right? He was working with the government in secret ops, and he knows and speaks freely about the fact that this universe is pulsing at it's like billions of pulses per second. And he knows the governments are using the technology when the spaces in between the pulses where there is nothing in the universe at all, they're working inside those spaces. So this technology that you're getting coming back to you, they're working in the ether, the spaces in between what we see, what our eyes can see, right? Yeah. So if you look into Bruce Cathy's work, you'll learn the frequencies that they're using and the dimensions that they're working in. They're working in a different dimension. It's like a different state, like a solid state.
Exactly.
Yeah, Jimmy and I got emails from Bruce Cathy before he died many years ago. Actually, he was in contact with me, and Jimmy and I are very aware of Bruce Cathy's work, and also we're getting into some very precise mathematics we'd love to share with you in numbers, because the depth of the presentation of the download Jimmy received and I helped him fine tune on the Lionsgate has had rippling revelations that you really need to see very, very precisely, because I know your mind is sharp enough to see all that, of course. So we'd love to share it with you privately and see what you think.
So let's open the communication channel here. It's very exciting, and thank you for this. I really appreciate it. I do have a hard stop in a couple of minutes here, but just want to thank you for having provided us this platform, and we'll be happy to continue the work.
Very good. Thank you, Jenny. Let me just ask any questions in here from anyone. Okay, no, you have an astonished audience, which means no questions tonight from any of us. A few jaws lower than they would be normally. One question I've got is connected to 144-100. Santos just spent the day doing a workshop on syncretism and astrotheology and all sorts. 144 came up as a seminal number with you as well. Just validate what it is that we're doing, David and Jimmy, and sticking with the 144. What do you make of 144100? Because that's the frequency that Jimmy has been articulating today for these transmissions bouncing off the moon. What would you make of 144,100?
Okay, 144 is 12 times 12. It's the 12th number of the Fibonacci ratio, and it is the number of all the petals of our chakras. If you count the 6 chakras from here down, you have 96, 16 petals, 12 petals in the heart, 10 in the solar plexus, 6 in the sacral, 4 in the base. That adds up to 144, and then the crown chakra has 1,000 petals, and those petals are dealing with frequency. So 1,000 times 144 is 144,000. It is a magical number in more ways than just those 3 ways. I've just spoken about it in 3 ways. There are many, many more ways that 144.
What do you make of the 144,100? Because that's the unique number that's taking us to some strange space.
Yeah, well, that's
144,100.
It's close enough to the 144. Yeah, it's very close to it. It's fractions.
Yeah, you get the speed of light. You get the speed of light if you take 43,200,000 divided by 144.1, you get the speed of light in metric accurate to 99.997%. And what's amazing about that, I mean, we could show you the slide presentation of that because you can really, really get deep into it, is the location of the Great Pyramid region in its north latitude if you convert the north latitude from degrees, minutes, and seconds to 10 base, it's the same speed of light ratio we get in the formula 432 to 144.1. And what's amazing about, I was looking on Google Earth because somebody else discovered that the location of the Great Pyramid of Egypt is the speed of light in the north latitude, and they're actually wrong. It's slightly off. And so I was trying to find out where it's at 100%. And it turns out from the top of the Great Pyramid, the Queen's Chamber is in perfect axis. But if you move to the King's Chamber, it's exactly the speed of light, because the speed of the King's Chamber is slightly off center. So it's so tiny, the adjustment, which puts absolute importance on the King's Chamber. And I'll have to show this to you later graphically.
We have
So
and we have good slides also that we put together.
Yeah.
To some of it. I got to go, everyone. I have a hard stop, but thank you so much. And,
all right. Thank you, Jimmy. See you next week, hopefully. God bless, brother.
We'll see you next time, Sasha. Thank you for having us here. Have a wonderful
David,
time.
stay on for one moment, would you? Jimmy's jumping
Sure.
up there. Boom, we've got you there. Hang on, to just rejig this so we're both on the screen. Very good. Thank you, David. So, David, can you just couch for our audience one more time the 1111 initiative that you're kicking off with Jimmy? And we're going to be sort of kicking it out increasingly with the Lazarus Initiative as well. What is the invitation to people around the world to get on board with? In layman's terms, what are we doing and how do people sign up?
Okay, the way you sign up is you go to my website, which is right under my name, davidsereda.co, and at the homepage, you'll see a button that says transmissions. You click on that button, and then you can see where you can pay the $11.11 a month to be part of the transmissions. And for the $11.11, you get the pre-training, you get a seminar about the meaning of the target, which is either going to be one of the 9 planetary spheres corresponding to the 9 levels of angels, or the Earth-based sacred sites that we'll be doing moon bounces to, so you get fully trained. And we'd really like to get 144,000 people of your followers to do this, because it's a harmonic number, and the probability in physics, probability increases with amplitude. So the amplitude is the number of people. So when we do a transmission with just a few people, the amplitude is very weak in essence. So because human consciousness, as William Tiller proved, is more powerful than radio waves. Can you believe that? But what's missing in human consciousness is coherency. And coherency is when we're all focused together at the exact same time, at the exact same frequency. So we're setting the frequency of 432 megahertz, and then we're giving you frequency tones for the target. So what you heard tonight were the tones for the octaves of the planet Venus. And that tunes your nervous system to those frequencies, but we're all doing it at the same time, which is synchronistic and increasing probability. So the goal is to get, with Sasha's help, 144,000 of you to register and do this. Now, it's true that the actual transmission itself is free, but the free transmission, you won't get a notification. You'll just see us go live on all the social media streams, and you'll just have to jump right in there. So it's better to do the membership, and we've made the membership a harmonic number, a very affordable, high quality latte, the price of a latte. You get to be part of this membership every month. And I want to point out that nothing like this has ever happened. I mean, humans don't send radio signals to the stars and the planets. We bounce signals off satellites, and they all go Earth-based to your cell phone, through the internet, to the radio and the TV. The only time I know that NASA sent a transmission was when George Harrison, the legendary Beatles, died. They sent his song across the universe, Jai Guru Deva, to Polaris, the North Star, in 2008. So that's the only time I noticed that NASA and also the Arecibo messages were sending messages out to Cosmos. So what we're doing in this partnership is very different. I mean, this has not been done before, where you get mass consciousness, intentional focus, and frequency and coherency all at the same time. So you really just got to stop what you're doing, because this is an opportunity. This has never happened on this planet. In fact, one thing I found very interesting about the Roswell incident is I measured the date of when Nikola Tesla invented, because he's the father of radio. Tesla, Sir Oliver Lodge, and Stone, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled June 21st, 1943, are the true fathers of radio. And when Tesla sent out his first radio broadcast from Pikes Peak in Colorado, he was getting messages. He couldn't tell if it was Venus or Mars. He was getting a response from the two local nearest planets to Earth. And there's not a lot known about it. There's letters that were signed by him, and he was not using regular radio waves, just as Sonato Bonacci just told us about. So what we know is there may be intelligences on the local spheres that are surrounding us that we can call and ask for an intentional response from, including what I sent out tonight. You could barely hear my voice, but I was calling on the archangels Gabriel and Michael to send a message to the Creator, the Supreme Being, God, the grand organizing designer, for help to planet Earth, because we're being hijacked by evil lords. That's what I said in the message. And then we heard my children's voices just saying, calling all angels. Well, what I'm saying is we need your participation. Please stop what you're doing. You know, have one latte less a month, and you can join us in this great moment, in this great intentional transmission experience.
Thank you, David. And it's so true that there's very few places that we can truly pioneer nowadays because of the grand deceptions. This is a truly pioneering objective and venture. I think it's a very worthy one. And that the fact is that we're getting palpable results that are slam dunking accepted ideas about physics. So anyone who's not curious in where this journey is going probably doesn't have a pulse roundabout now, or has taken 3 jabs and a couple of boosters. You know.
Yeah, that'll do it. 3 jabs.
David, thank you. We'll wind it up for the day, and I'll speak to you in a day or two. It'd be great if we could do something next week when Santos is again with us on the island here.
Yeah, come up with a piece of music and a message, and we'll send it out. You know, we want to open this up because we want more messages coming from different perspectives and different people. So thank you very much, Sasha. And
thanks, David.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you, David. All right. Right, folks, watching at home, thank you for staying the distance with us. And we will see you next week, same time, more or less. We'll try and pin the tail on the donkey at the same time. And thanks very much to my gracious audience here on the Regenesis Retreat. And of course, Santos Bonacci. Thanks, folks. And now I'm going to have to end the broadcast here.